So you've been playing for a little while, you love the blues, and you know enough to string maybe a 12-bar blues rhythm progression together. Like if someone called a blues an E, you could get by with an E7, an A7, and a B7. And you know how that all works in the 12-bar blues form. You might even know some minor pentatonic scales to start soloing, maybe an E minor pentatonic, but you're saying to yourself, I just play alone in my house, in my practice room, in my bedroom. I don't really even have aspirations of playing with other people, or I live in an area where there's not a lot of other musicians. Well, you want to be able to take those kinds of things that you learned, the chords and the scales, and possibly create some 12-bar blues progressions you can play by yourself. So what I thought would be fun in this video is to show you how I approach this kind of thing when I'm just sitting around playing by myself and I want to play a 12-bar blues that sounds good to me, and it's not just rhythm and it's not just soloing. So let me show you something that I would do to combine both of these worlds, the rhythm and the lead, so that we can sit here and play a 12-bar blues by ourselves. All right, I'll count us in sort of a medium tempo shuffle. We're in E, so we're going to be based around E7, A7, and B7 as our chords, and our licks will be coming out of E minor pentatonic. 1, 2, 3. So what I was doing there was a classic sort of call and response between my rhythm playing and my lead playing, all staying within the framework of the 12-bar blues. So what I might do is play one measure of E7, and then I'll respond to it with a lick. And then I'll play the measure of A7, respond to it with a lick. But I'm keeping the 12-bar in its form intact. I'm never varying or swaying from that. So I'm going to break all that stuff down for you. This is going to be really cool because there's lots of little partial chords in here. You'll notice how I keep some repetition with the melody that I created, that little signature line. And it's going to be something that I think you're going to be able to grasp onto even if you use basic chords. This kind of stuff is a lot of fun, and once you get the hang of it, you can really start to add it to other keys and other chords that you know to play the blues. And I thought the same thing, so I said, let's make a course out of it. So I have over 4.5 hours of lessons on this very type of thing in my new course, Blues Guitar by Yourself. It's available this weekend for a special 50% offer. Check the link below, and you can get a great deal on a bunch of these kind of examples and backing tracks and all the tabs to go with it. We're celebrating that course with a giveaway in this video as well. We're going to give away this PRS DGT SE. This is the exact one I've played in my demo video and some other videos as well. I promise I've kept it pretty clean. I'll polish her up for the winner, whoever that is. You want to grab the link for this contest in the description below. You put your email in, you get entered for the contest. We've had a bunch of people win guitars through this channel. It's been really, really fun. And we'll only ever contact you by email. We won't do it on the channel here. So beware of the bots, people trying to say, hey, it's Corey and you won this guitar. I'll contact you directly and personally if you're the lucky winner of the DGT SE. So the trick to a lot of this stuff is the 7th chord and how we're manipulating it. We can take different inversions of that chord. We can play, several different versions of an E7 or an A7 or a B7. And as we flip-flop those around, it takes on this sort of more piano player quality. And then of course, we're tossing in pentatonic riffs every other bar. So we're in E for this blues. So in E blues means we play E7, A7, and B7. That's how we say it on the streets. And if we took an E7, for instance, so follow me on this, and all the tab for this is going to be included. It's also in the course, but for this one, it's a freebie. You guys can take it. Take a look at these bottom 3 notes. This is E, G sharp, and D. That's the root, the 3rd, and the flat 7 of that chord, thus giving it that E7 sound. We can change our fingering and do that. But what I like to do is just use the 1st and 3rd fingers there playing the G sharp and the D. If we add an E in the bass there, just to kind of, for reference, we can hear that that gives us an E7 sound. So that's going to be our first move. We kind of slide in from a half step below. No E in that at all, but it still sounds like an E. E7, right? And from there, I keep my third finger on the third string, and we're gonna build a bona fide E7 chord inversion. An inversion means we flip-flop the notes, and in this case, we start with a G sharp, that's the third, the D, that's the flat 7, the E, the root, is way over here on the second string, 5th fret, and then the first string is a B note there, played by the pinky. So those are all the notes in an E7 chord. And if you're just learning this, you could take that much. Notice I am a thumb rapper because I want to keep the muting happening where necessary. I don't want to go, okay? So I can swing wildly, keep the groove solid, but have proper muting. So that first measure, it's actually going a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. It's got a little pickup beat to it. Slide into that 2-note 7th chord there, and then played the bona fide one. Then we're going to play this E minor pentatonic lick, and I'll go kind of quickly through this since you have the tab, and you can always jump into the chorus too. Next is, so what I'm doing is I'm seeing E minor pentatonic here and here. And we're going to kind of connect those two with this line. Double stop there on the 1st and 2nd string, 7th and 8th frets. Walk the scale down as you normally would. Slide down to the 3rd position of that minor pentatonic. And then walk that down, which is just A, G, E. And there you have it. And that takes you through the first 4 measures of the 12-bar blues. Now, once we get to the A7, we're going to do that same sort of broken 7th chord approach. This is some of my favorite stuff in the world. Still sliding in from our target a half step away, but check this out. We have almost what looks like an open kind of D shape, but don't ever think that way. That's just a way to kind of get a shortcut across. We're going to have a G, a C sharp, and an E. Once again, a 7th chord with no root. So that's, if you look at that, or if you look at this, these are all A7 chords. But check that out. Those are the 3 notes in play. So we're just going to change the fingering, make it a little more comfortable. And we're going to play that. That qualifies as an A7 without a root. And it's cool because when you're not telegraphing the root so much, it makes the progression sound even more interesting. Now we need another little response chord-wise to that. That's another move I like. Now we do have a root this time. We have an A, we have a C sharp, and then we have a G. So that's root, 3rd, flat 7. And that's really all you need to get that 7th chord sound approach. You don't even need the root as we discussed. But hear how that's very piano. All you're doing there is playing A7 chords. I know it looks like you're doing more and it sounds like you're doing more. You're not, but that's the beauty of it. So you slide in. Repeat the lick, but this time you're just ending on the A because we're playing over an A chord there and it kind of links up. Back to the 1 chord, the E7. Same riff. Look at that, you're more than halfway through the blues now. This is great. We're going to do that same move on the B7 that we did for A7, but we're not going to have the call and response riff. We don't have enough time to squeeze that in without it sounding too busy. So whatever you did for A7, we're going to move it up, and that's going to be on the 7th frets and 8th frets. Again, going quickly because you have the tab. This lesson is included in the course. It'd be awesome if you jumped into it. A lot more detailed instruction there as well. Okay, so we go Again, I hate calling it a D shape, but that's what it kind of pops off as. Fourth, third, and second strings, you now have an A, flat 7, D sharp, third, and an F sharp, the fifth. Slide into it. Then you're playing that little shape. Again, we showed that over the A7, but this time we have B, D sharp, and A, because that gives us our flat 7. Now we're going to go down to the A7. Do it again. Back to the top. Now this time when you finish up that line, let's walk into it from a half step away. That's all normal, what we learned previously. Half step, that's going to be your 8th fret into the 9th fret, because it gets us our B note. That's our targeted root note there for that chord. Right, so all together, a 1, 2, 3, pick up. Yeah, that kind of stuff sounds great on this guitar. Again, this is the SE DGT that we're giving away, and I've had this guitar for a little while since they sent it over for me to demo. I've already got a core model. I want to stick with that one. Otherwise, I'd keep this guitar because it's really, really killer. Sounds great in all positions. That's a bridge humbucker. Here's the neck. Sometimes the fingers don't work. But all I'm doing is just coming out of this guitar, going into my 65 Bassman, into an aux box, out to your ears. That's it, no bells and whistles. Really great guitar. Really nice. You can do the whole single coil option. Man, really sounds good. Again, you can enter to win this in the links below. You can also grab a link to 50% off of that course that has over 4.5 hours of this kind of lesson stuff in it. Lots and lots of goodies. You can also grab the tab and the track that I'm going to provide as well, so you can play around with this lesson courtesy of me and my site Working Class Guitar. You can check all that stuff out. It's a pleasure to do this stuff with you guys. Thanks for all your support. That's why I'm giving away the guitar, giving back. You can take a look at the photos I posted earlier, man. We have a lot of nice people that win instruments and have been really helpful to me over the years. It's great to give back. Thanks for all your support. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you on the next lesson.